Hi, welcome to week 4 or your 4th session, which will be focusing in on our heart chakra. So that's governing our lungs and our chest. And this week I would like to explore the theme of compassion and self-acceptance. So when you're ready, let's start and I'll meet you on the mat. So find a comfortable seat position. That might be sitting with cushions underneath your hips, just to elevate your hips a little higher. So I'm just going to do that with blocks just to demonstrate. So if you have the hips higher than the knees, it just maybe alleviates any discomfort from that lower back, from that hip flex space area. So entirely up to you. You can have a cushion, but you also don't have to, or a block. And then just feel free to just close down the eyes. Maybe the hands are rested onto the knees, maybe they're resting up, maybe they're stacked on top of each other. How are you feeling today? So physically, any sensations, any areas of maybe discomfort or contraction? Your energy levels today, maybe you're feeling quite sleepy, or maybe you've been really productive, or you've been buzzing about, maybe your mind feels a little fragmented and scattered throughout your day. And just notice if there's any judgment there. Can we just take a step back just to be in observation? So we're not here to judge, just observing the space that we're in as we arrive. Maybe noticing how we feel emotionally today. And just taking the time to arrive, that check-in as we arrive in our body. Maybe we notice movement as we breathe in and as we breathe out. Maybe we notice how we want to fidget. Maybe we feel a bit uncomfortable staying still. Again, there's no wrong or right. If you need to fidget, you do that. And maybe can we close down the eyes just to check in with our breath here. Can we breathe in a little deeper, feeling the belly expand, the chest expand? Can we let go of those shoulders? The next time that we breathe out, can we lengthen or take our time to breathe out, slowing that breath out? As we slow down the breath, we start to signal to our nervous system, to our body, that we're here to connect to our parasympathetic nervous system, our rest and digest, our relax space. And maybe you're in the sympathetic nervous system, so you find it a bit difficult to connect to that rest space. Again, just observing. What if we just let go of those shoulders, and what if we just breathe out and let our body just sink into the seat that it's in? There's no rush as we just take our arrival. About 2 more breaths here. And as we arrive, we might want to start to just wriggle fingers and wriggle toes. Maybe it might feel good to just gently tip the head over to the left and then to the right. Maybe you want to just take some gentle neck rolls there. Entirely up to you. But as you bring a bit of movement, feel free to inhale, stretch those arms up. And maybe you take those legs out to give them a little shake. Maybe you start to open the eyes. Entirely up to you. And we're just going to start to make our way into our first pose. So the idea of doing some yoga just before we come into our relaxation meditation is just to get into our body. Sometimes sitting still and arriving is just a little hard. So we're going to come into child's pose. I'm going to get us to come into child's pose with a twist. So you might have big toes together, you might put a cushion or roll a blanket underneath your hips if they don't want to sit down. And we're going to take our right arm through and then land our head to the ground. If the ground feels too far away, use a pillow. Stack a pillow underneath your shoulders, underneath your head. So the back of the right hand comes onto the floor. The left hand can maybe stay beside the face, maybe reach up, extending the arm up, or maybe you rest it so the palm faces up and it's just resting onto your back. Or maybe you have a bit of space so that you hook the hand into the inside of that right thigh. So entirely up to you. Do find your space that works for you. Get comfortable there. And just notice when you arrive into that posture, how does it feel? Where are you feeling most sensations? Can we maybe sit the hips a little closer towards the ground? Maybe you want to pop a cushion underneath there to support you. But as we come into that twist, notice where there's contraction, notice where there's space. And can we still take those deep breaths in and slow breaths out to start to connect to our feeling and experience part of our brain. Hopefully starting to switch off the critical, analytical, and intellectual side of our brain. Where are we feeling this stretch? Where are we feeling this pose? And when we breathe out, can we let go in this pose? Can we maybe soften those shoulders? Does our head feel safe to let go towards the ground? As we breathe and as we hold, we'll take about 3 more breaths here. Nice, and no rush, take your time. Start to just guide that left hand back towards your face, just to guide and aid yourself back up. I want to take it straight over to the other side, so this time it will be left arm threads through. Again, if the ground feels too far away, pop a cushion underneath you so that it brings it closer towards you. Right hand can be beside the face, reach up over the head, hand on the floor, maybe the back of the hand rests into your lower back, or maybe you hook the inside of that left thigh. There is no wrong or right. Everybody's bodies are different. Your body is different every time you come to practice, so do find what works for you. Again, as we settle into this side, maybe you explore options just to find what feels good for you. Sometimes you don't know what feels good for us, so we just need to explore. Finding that space to feel safe enough to explore in your body. As we arrive again, can we find that sense of surrendering into that pose, being in our body? Maybe you would like to take a body scan from the toes to the legs, to the hips, feeling that gentle pressure there in the hips as we're folded in that child's pose. Feeling that twist in your torso, the head landed onto the ground. Maybe feeling any restrictions anywhere. Are we still breathing, and can we take those deep breaths in and those slow breaths out? Connecting to our breath. Slowing it down, a signal to our body that we're here resting in this pose, that it's safe enough to be here. And also working with our breath. Maybe the next time that you breathe out, you allow yourself just to get a little heavier into that pose, letting go. And there is no rush, we're here for about 3 more breaths. And whenever you're ready to, gently unravel, bring right hand back beside the face, gently peel up. And give you two options here. You might want to just settle into neutral, so just reach and extend those arms out. Or maybe you'd like to take a bit of movement, so maybe you just bring those knees in, hip width, and you take a few rounds of cow pose. Opening the chest and take a round of cat. You might just flow through that within your breath, or maybe you wriggle in cow pose, you wriggle in cat pose. Or again, maybe you're just settled in that extended child's pose. Absolutely entirely up to you. Whether your body wants stillness or movement, just check in with your body. Where is your body craving for some attention and some space? And we'll just take another breath there. There is no rush. Nice. And when you're ready to, you might just want to watch for the next one or just start to gather your pillows. So the next one, I'm just going to demonstrate with my bolster. But you can use blankets, pillows. Maybe want to roll up a pillow inside a blanket just to make it bulky, so you can get a pillow inside a blanket, roll it up to make it bulkier. The idea is that we're going to have something underneath our chest. So you can also use a block as well, maybe a hard back book, and then pop a pillow on it so it's not as hard. So I'll show you first with the bolster. So the idea is that we want to open up the chest. So it's going to aim for the upper part of the back. As you lean down onto it, aim for the upper. For me, it's just too much for my head to just drop back, so I'm just going to pop a block or a cushion underneath that as well, so my head is rested. I'm just going to have the arms out, feet together, sole of feet together, knees out to the side. That might be too intense for those that do have bolsters, or for those that don't. Feel free to, again, pop a pillow, roll the blanket around the pillow to make it bulkier. Or likewise, if you've got a block or maybe a hardback book, instead of horizontal, the block will be vertical. And again, you're aiming for that upper part of the back. Use as many pillows and as many blankets as you need so that you're getting that opening up in the front of the chest. Maybe it's just rolling up a blanket and having it quite small is probably for you. And again, you're going to aim for about the upper part of the back, so it'll come out towards your armpits. Doesn't matter how high it is. And again, you're resting the head onto the ground, soles of the feet together, knees out to the side. Arms are just going to come out to the side and the palms are going to face up so that you're getting that rotation in that chest to shoulder joint area. Feel free to just explore that, as our body needs variation. We feel different every time we come to practice. So take the time to be kind to our body, giving it what it needs, not what you think it might need. Feel what your body needs. Because sometimes we crave stronger practices and sometimes we crave slower practices. Sometimes our body craves having a higher pillow underneath and sometimes it doesn't. I'll give you a few moments just to settle in there. Likewise with the soles of the feet together, knees out to the side. If your hips feel quite tender, do feel free to wedge a pillow, block or blanket underneath the thighs as well. Settle where you feel safe enough to be in your body. Settle where it feels good, but also a little discomfort so that you know that the pose, being held in that pose, maybe doing some work, opening up the hips and opening up the shoulders. If you haven't already, can we close down the eyes and take that introspective look? Where in your body are you contracting? Where in your body does it feel safe enough that you can let go of? This posture is very predominantly targeted towards shoulders, tension area, hips, another tension area. So make sure you feel safe enough to be there. And again, as we breathe out, can we breathe out a little slower? Connecting to our rest and digest. Can we breathe out a little slower to guide our body to let go? Let go of any physical discomfort here. Let go as we surrender, feeling safe enough to be there, opening up our body. Maybe again you take a body scan from head to toe. Our whole body is connected. So can we, with full presence, let go of our entire body in this pose? And there is no rush. We're going to take about 3 more breaths here. And when you're ready to, gently start to just guide those legs in and just take them out for a moment. Maybe you stay there for a moment. Or maybe if you've only got something small and squishy underneath, you just roll over to the side and just remove that pillow or blanket. Or if it's a bit high up and a bit harder, maybe you lift up on your elbows to remove anything underneath you and just take a moment to just lie completely flat on the ground. Just to unravel into a neutral position and just take a moment to be sensitive, being in your body, noticing any physical releases. Where do you feel those physical releases in your body? Any tingles, any new sensations? And whenever you feel ready to, we're going to start to guide ourselves into our next pose. So just start to bring those legs in. Do feel free to give yourself a little squeeze there. Maybe it feels good just to rock side to side. We want to come into our spinal twist. So I'm going to give you 2 options here. I'll just first show you the options with the 2 legs. So with 2 legs, we might just bring the feet down, shift the hips over to left so that you can bring the knees over to the right. You might have something underneath the thighs, you might have something between. If you want to do the 1 leg version, right leg extends out, left knee draws over. And again, maybe you have a little pillow or something to rest on there. With your arms, you might have them out, palms facing up. Maybe you have the arms bent in cactus arms. The knee doesn't have to come to the ground. You can wedge a pillow or something underneath it just to prop yourself up. So 2 options there, either knees, both knees bent over towards the right, or right leg out, left knee bends over towards the right. So do feel free to explore both, find what feels good for you in that twist. Feels different for everyone, but you are rolling over onto that right side of your hips so that you get in that twist. Support yourself with cushions underneath, in between your thighs. Maybe even as well with the arms, say if your left shoulder feels like it's floating off the ground, feel free to wedge a cushion underneath there as well. Take the time to feel supported in this pose. Again, feeling safe enough to let go. And when you arrive, just noticing as you take the time to be in your body, where is that stretch feeling good and where is it contracting? Maybe just being a bit more gentle in that area. Can we still breathe those deep breaths in and those deep lengthened breaths out? As we breathe out a little slower, can we find that sense of just gently coming into that twist, letting go into that twist? Being in your body, guided by your breath. Can you let go of those shoulders? Does it feel safe enough to let go of your legs a little more? And there is no rush. We're going to take our 3 final breaths here. Each breath out, can you let go a little more? And when you're ready to, guide the arms back in, guide that top leg in, whether it's, and then guide your maybe extended or bent leg in, go to the center. It might feel good to hug the knee in, maybe it feels good to rock side to side, maybe you just want to extend the legs out. Remembering our transitions are just as important, so you might feel the pose the most when you come out of the pose. You might feel the benefits of that pose, or how stiff you might have felt in that side when you come out of it. Nice, and feel free to stay there for a little while longer. But if you are ready to come over to the other side, again, your option 1, feet down, and you do shift the hips over to the right first before you take the legs over to the left. Use cushions, blankets, pillows underneath thighs, in between thighs. You might take one leg version, so center yourself, and again, shift the hips slightly. Left leg straight, right knee bends, and you take it over towards the left side. With the arms out to a T shape, maybe elbows bend. Feel free to wedge a cushion or something underneath your right shoulder, or you can just rest it on the side. Feel free to explore that. Any suggestions I haven't made but do feel good for you, feel free to take. And already as we come into that side, notice how it may feel completely different on this side to the other. It's quite common that one side feels tighter than the other, one side feels more open than the other. So you just check in with how your body feels. That intention to be here in our body. Are we still breathing? And again, can we slow that breath down? And if we feel safe enough, we're in this pose and we're holding as we breathe, and each time that we breathe out, can we maybe let go of any sense of tension, any sense of contraction, kind of softening with that breath out. And there is no rush, but taking your 3 final breaths here. Each breath out, that sense of surrendering into the pose, letting go of your body in this twist. whenever you feel ready to, we gently start to guide those arms in. That top leg comes in. When you're ready to guide the other leg in, feel free to hug the knees in, rock side to side, roll the knees round in a circle. You take any movement or stillness that feels good for you. And we're going to start to set ourselves up for our final pose, corkscrew Shavasana. So do feel free to pop a pillow underneath your head, get a blanket on top of you. If you want to, you can turn down the lights. We're going to extend those legs out, and what feels quite nice, especially if it feels uncomfortable for your lower back to be on the ground, is to just place a cushion or maybe a rolled up blanket just underneath your thighs, just so that it alleviates any maybe discomfort in that lower back pressing into the ground. So do feel free to take the option. The feet will be out about shoulder width, mat width if you're using a mat. Hands can rest onto the belly or maybe out to the side, palms face up. Just settling into a neutral position. Any point it does feel uncomfortable to lie on the ground, you can just take the feet out, mat width, shoulder width, and then knees together in your constructive rest. But take the time to get comfortable, close down the eyes if that feels comfortable, get warm, get comfy. And I'm just going to come up to seated so I can guide you through your meditation. Getting comfortable here. Taking any shuffles with legs, feet, hips, shoulders. Maybe a rock of the head side to side. Just getting it out of your system, any wriggles or any tension that's preventing you from being comfortable. And as we settle in to be comfortable here, just noticing the space that you're in now as we arrive. Physically, mentally, emotionally, maybe it feels different from when we first arrived into the practice. As we start to relax here into our body, setting ourselves up for relaxation, and just remembering relaxation again looks different every time that we come to practice or come to relax. If you need to move, you move. But also if you need to move, maybe you watch that space in between, the urge to move. Where does that maybe come from? And can we maybe, like a breath out, release? Can we just settle into surrender here? As we take a moment just to practice a bit of mindfulness and awareness, we're just going to go through our body scan. Checking in with feet and legs. Do we need to get a bit more comfortable there, or can we just let go of both legs and both feet? Settling in for complete rest. Can we let go of hips and the back and the shoulders? Feel safe enough just to draw into the floor, letting go of any tension. Just softening the belly and the chest. Softening those arms down to the fingertips. Can we soften, relax the head into the ground, onto the pillow? And as the head is supported and held in this space, letting go of the throat and the neck. Softening the jaw, eyeballs, eyelids, maybe if you haven't already, we're closing down those eyes. And just allowing that space in between the eyebrows and the forehead to unravel. Just settling into this space where we feel held and we feel supported by the ground, by the earth. We feel contained and safe enough to just let go and relax. In this space where we connect to breathing, maybe noticing your breath. As we collectively breathe together, knowing that as humans we breathe. As humans we have the ability to relax even if it's not accessible every time. And in this space I invite you to join me on a compassionate meditation. Maybe you would like to place a hand or two hands onto your heart. Maybe you don't. Maybe you want to place them to belly, wherever it feels comfortable for you. And as we just cultivate this sense of compassion, we might think of something or someone that we hold close to our heart, or maybe something that just sparks some warmth, genuine care and love. So one thing that comes to mind for me is my boyfriend's mum has just bought a puppy, and we went to go see puppy Finn the other day, and he's just got this abundance amount of unconditional, innocent love and warmth about him. So maybe you have something similar or someone similar, and just thinking about that in your mind's eye. As you experience those feelings of warmth, compassion, and with that same warmth and compassion, can we send maybe even just a little bit towards ourselves, towards our physical body, loving our feet and legs and thanking them for carrying us throughout our day, sending some appreciation and love to our torso and all the organs that live there, that we are breathing. Can we send that same kind of appreciation and warmth towards our head, our mind, and maybe you start to visualize that warmth as a bright, warm light like the sun. The sun maybe that popped out for us today in Manchester. But don't worry, not everyone connects to visualization, so maybe it's just that feeling of that warmth. But maybe if you do connect to that visualization of a warm, bright light, maybe you visualize that at your heart center space. Each inhale feeding that warmth at that heart center space. Or maybe you're feeling that warmth through that thought or that person or puppy or whatever it is that you connected to warmth, feeding that warmth and that light. And as we breathe out, maybe we just start to send that light radiating outwards from that heart center space. Remembering there's no wrong or right, so if you don't feel anything as well, you could just connect to that feeling of that thought. If you do feel that sense of radiance, then we're radiating it out through our torso, maybe starting To feel that lightness in that warmth in our torso. Radiating down to our legs. Radiating up through our head. As we radiate in this warmth, knowing that even if it's not always accessible, we have this warmth and compassion within us. And that we all feel this as humans together. And if it feels right to do so, you might radiate this warmth, cocooning yourself in this light. And it might just be there for you today. Filling up your cup, filling up your energy space. Or maybe you might extend this out to your loved ones, people that you're maybe missing at the moment as we are not in contact with them in person. Or maybe someone that you have in mind that could really do with some compassionate energy right now. Maybe you know that they're going through a hard time. And just being with that warmth, whether it's with yourself, cultivating that self-compassion, or if you have the space and energy to do so, you're sending that warmth out. Only if you're feeling that you're overspilling with it. And there is no rush. Take your time to just gently guide yourself back. Noticing the points of contact that you have with the floor. Noticing the contact that you have with the air. Maybe taking a deeper breath in and a deeper breath out. Maybe you're still radiating in this warmth that you can take with you for the rest of your evening. Whenever you're ready to, maybe just starting to wriggle fingers and wriggle toes. Noticing how that might feel for you. In your own time, feel free to stretch arms and stretch legs. And then go ahead to give yourself a big squeeze and a big hug, just thanking yourself for dedicating this time to practice for yourself, this time to recharge that is just solely for you. And if you like, you might gently just start to rock side to side and roll over to the left using your left arm as a pillow. And maybe you want to stay there. But in your own time, if you feel ready to, just to guide yourself up into a comfortable seat position with the hands at the heart center space, the chest. As we arrive back into our evening, just closing our practice. As we inhale, circle the arms above the head. Palms together. Exhale, hands down through center. Namaste. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for joining practice.